What's up, guys? So what do you do when you have a city, you have a niche, an idea, you do your research, and you find out that there's not a lot of search volume? Everything else looks good, low competition, low CPC, but the volume is low. And the reason that I want to bring this up is it is a question that I had like a lot. It was like, what am I going to do? And it's a question that I get a lot as well. So really the reason why you want to make sure, and by the way, I'm going to jump into my screen here in a second. The reason why you really want to make sure there's enough volume, guys, is nothing's worse than when you go and you spend all the time and the energy and the effort to go and land a client, and then the leads dry up, right? Let's say that's if you're running ads, right? If you're not running ads, and by the way, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, running ads and this, that, and the rest, guys, we're talking about digital real estate. We're talking about renting simple websites on Google and renting them out for passive income. That's the business model here. Let's say you're not running ads. You go and you rank a website. It doesn't look like there's enough volume. You spend 6 months ranking a website, and then all of a sudden you're like, dude, I'm only getting 2 leads. I'm only getting 2 freaking leads a month, and I'm the top guy. I'm the top gal. I'm the top website, right? That's what we're trying to avoid. So I'm going to jump into my screen. I'm going to show you guys an example. This happened to me the other day. It reminded me because I sat there and debated, well, what am I going to do? What should I do? And I'm like, I know that people have this question because I had it. So with that said, guys, let's jump into my screen and let's talk about it.
Okay, so volume looks low. What do you do? Or you're not really sure, right? You pick a city, you pick a niche, you start doing your due diligence, you start, looking at the competition and whatever. What do you do? So this actually happened to me last Friday. It's happened to me many, many, many times, but it was funny because it happened to me and I was just sitting there debating, like, should I do it? Should I not? And then I started thinking, it reminded me of being asked that same question earlier in the week. And I've been asked, dozens of times the same question. So I thought, let's address this. Okay. So first and foremost, what you're looking at is what I use to do due diligence. This is Rank and Rent Engine. It allows me to crank out due diligence honestly in seconds. Like once I get my information uploaded, it's that quick and it spits out all my information and my domain age, my backlinks, whatever. Great. So that's what you're looking at, just so you know what this tool is and what I'm looking at. Okay. So I went and input all the information into here and I was looking at the asphalt paving niche. It was interesting to me. I've thought about it in the past, and I was driving to see my kids the other day, or I guess last week, and looked over to the left, and I saw a company, a big building with one of the local companies. And but I do know who the owner is, in passing. And I was like, you know what, that would be interesting. Let me take a look at it and I want to get back in the trenches specifically on the due diligence. So let me start doing these more. So last Friday I did 2 different due diligences, one of them. So I put in all my information. Again, this isn't this isn't a video on due diligence, but make sure that, guys, when you're doing due diligence, you got to make sure you're looking at the right keywords. You got to make sure that your browser history is cleared out. You got to make sure that all those, incognito window, all that stuff is taken care of. And then you go and you start looking for certain things, which companies keep showing up for the terms that you want to rank for. And then you basically assess competition. We're not going to talk about that and talk about assessing competition. I always want to show you guys this specific niche. Okay. So this is driveway paving, asphalt paving in St. George, Utah. Now, I know there's a lot of money in this, so it checks the box of high ticket. I know these are big jobs, right? It is phone driven. The only hesitation I had with this niche was I don't know how many people are actually looking for asphalt paving, or if that's more like city contracts type of a deal. And I know that the bigger jobs definitely is going to be that. But again, I was still curious. So I do my research, I crunch my data, and I click, the button to assess the city. And if you look here, every single term, even the primary one, paving companies, 10, driveway paving, 10, asphalt company, 10, asphalt contract, 0. Guys, are there more than 10 people searching for driveway paving in St. George, Utah, population of 200,000? 100%. Okay. It's not possible there's only 10. The tools are never accurate. By the way, this data comes directly from, let me think where they said it. I think it comes directly from Google Keyword Planner. if I'm not mistaken. So it is the same data you're going to get, and it's very, very pure. It's not, sent here and this is what Google also shows. Okay. But it's not correct because there's no way that there's only 10 people in a 200,000 population that per month that are searching for driveway paving. So I know in my head, doing this long enough, there's going to be more than 10. But guys, what happens is that if you go into this city, right? If I were to go into this city right here, and let's say I'm going to do this the old school way. And for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, by the way, I am stuttering my butt off today. I apologize. If you don't know what I'm talking about when I say old school way, I'm talking about building the website up front, ranking it over time, and then renting it out. I've done this in the past. I've had other people do this in the past. I've talked to people that have done this in the past, and you spend 6 months getting this website ranked. By the way, this competition is really stiff, so it would probably take a year, maybe not, but it's probably 6 months to a year. And I get to the top of Google. I do all this hard work, and all of a sudden, I don't have any leads. Or I'm getting 2 leads a month, and I'm like, what the heck? I don't know why. Where's the leads coming from? Is it my conversion? Most likely, it's because there's just not a lot of people searching for the service, right? So that's situation A. The other thing that I've seen a lot is you look at a city like this, you're like, okay, I'm going to do it Nick's way. I'm going to go pre-sell this deal so I don't have to go and spend 6 months. Okay, great. So I build a landing page, I set up a Google ad. Again, if you guys are like lost entirely, you guys got to go watch some of my other videos. The way that we shortcut this process, or that we speed up, I hate the word shortcut because there's really no shortcuts. The way that we speed up this process is we build a landing page, we pay Google to run ads to the landing page, phone calls start coming in, and then we can start to, or they don't, right? We can start to see how many phone calls are coming in. Are there hungry business owners? So I go ahead and this is what happens to a lot of people is they go and they start running this campaign. They get a lead or two that comes in, hook a business owner. They're excited. Business owner's excited, going to close the deal. And all of a sudden the leads dry up. And they're like, well, I don't know what's going on. Google ads isn't working. Facebook ads isn't working. I don't know what to do. And all of a sudden they become frustrated. Okay. So guys, I want to let you know that I don't care. This is, again, my opinion. I'm not the only one in the space. I get that. I'm not the smartest person in the world. I get that. But my opinion is that if every single box is not checked in terms of, search volume has to be there, low competition, high profit margins or ticket price, certain amount of back. I have these different boxes that need to be ticked. If every single box isn't ticked, I'm not going into it. Okay. And so like this one right here, as much as I wanted to, because I know a guy that works at one of these companies that I could literally have 15 mutual friends with introduce me. If I could get leads, I could sell the deal. No questions asked. And I know he's hungry. He's like all the above. But the reality is that it would be an emotional thing for me. It would be an emotional decision because this is not a good opportunity. It's not even close in terms of volume. Like what's going to happen is I'm probably going to squeak out a couple of leads if I run ads and maybe a couple of leads if I rank organically, but I'm going to put a ton of time into this. And on top of probably not keeping the client, I'm also going to make myself look bad because it's going to be like, yeah, we worked with Nick. Like I'm sure I could convince somebody to get me to pay me for 3 to 6 months. But long term, it's just not going to work. Okay. And so like with this one right here, look, the CPC is extremely attractive at 41 cents, but there's just not enough volume. Okay. Now, a lot of people are going to ask, what's the minimum volume? That's something that I cover in depth when inside of Digital Landlords, of course, but I've talked about this at length as well on this channel. And I will tell you that I don't ever give a number unless you're inside of, my network. Inside of my community because it changes. And so I'm always giving them the updated information. And the reason that it changes because, again, if I were to say, hey, as long as the search tool, as long as Rank and Right Engine says, 30, then you're good. Well, then somebody's going to watch that video in a year and that's not going to be accurate again. So what I want to tell you is that the key to doing this, to finding out what the search volume is go and find a website that's already ranking. Okay. That's been ranking for a while. Look how many leads it's getting. And I'm talking about ranking for the main keywords. And then compare that to what the actual tool says. So if it's getting 30 leads a month for the past 6 months and the tool says 10, then you can safely assume that you can take this number and you can times it by 3, and that's about what you can expect, right? Again, this is just guessing. This is just educated guess. It's educated guessing. That's all it is, okay? It is not black and white, and that's the truth. In this one, I can tell you right now, if you come across any situation, any niche city combination where it only says 10, it's not enough. Okay, at least if you're using rank and rent engine, that is not enough. It's not even close to enough. So again, my whole point with this, guys, is that it can be easy. It can be easy to get attracted to something like this, to get emotional about it, especially when you have a buddy that does the service or a family member that does the service in that city, and you really, really, really want to make it work because it would be the easy layup. It'd be such an easy deal. But the reality is that you're just setting yourself up for failure. And even if you get that money, even if you get that 30 or 3-month contract, 6-month contract, you're not going to look good long term. It's going to ruin your name, and you're not going to impress them, and it's just not going to be a good situation. You're going to spend way more time, energy, and effort than you're going to get out of it. So if you come across a situation where the volume is low, okay, and again, this I will tell you is too low. 10 on this tool, way too low. When you come across a situation, I don't care if every other box is checked, this is not a situation where I'm going to go into it. And again, some of you guys are going to be like, yeah, he's just trying to steer us away. Go and try it and comment in 6 months when you rank your website. Like, Nick told me. Horror stories. I've talked to so many different people that have had this happen. Oh, my website's ranking, nothing's coming in. It's because there wasn't enough volume, dude. You got to make sure that there's enough people searching in your area. It doesn't have to do with freaking population, guys. Okay. It has to do with demand. How many people are actually searching for that service? So in a situation like this, guys, once again, not going to go for it. It doesn't check every single box, and it's specifically on the search volume. When you see this, move on.